I'm making this video for two reasons. Mainly because if this is true, then I'll get to act smug about it, but also because I'm sick and tired of the actual state of the manga community. It's either actual racists supporting Eren while not understanding his position, or it's incredibly naive morons who think that getting rid of Eldia's only defense and then praying to God that Marley doesn't exterminate them is a valid plan. I believe that Eren is basically playing 6D chess with the world, and this is how he's going to achieve world peace. Why would Eren have another plan in the first place? Well, because there are only two options: the rumbling or 6D chess. When it comes to the rumbling, Eldia will eventually be exterminated by Marley. This has been discussed before by Zeke. The rumbling will no longer work after Marley develops an air force to bomb the Wall Titans, or technology gets advanced enough to counter them. We already see how the anti-Titan weaponry is a massive threat, forcing Marley to change its strategy based on its enemies having it. And it's still in its infancy as a concept. It'll only get more advanced, to the point where Paradise can't use the Wall Titans as a threat against the world. Now, Willy does address this, but it's while he's rallying the world to war against Eldia. I can't see this as him actually being credible here. I'm not saying that he's lying either, but he would definitely want to paint his position here in the best light possible. And the only source for millions of Wall Titans existing in the first place is the statement by the first King of the Walls, and I don't see why we should consider him a credible source in the first place. Whether that be when they first attacked Paradise during the first war we see in the series, or by the direct declaration of war that Willy did. Eren is left with one choice only: use the weapon you have now and get rid of Marley, and protect the Paradisians by killing everyone else. Therefore, I truly believe that the rumbling stands against everything Eren stands for. Eren has shown before that he does not like injustice. He went out of his way to save Mikasa. He owed her nothing, and she meant nothing to him at the time, but he still saved her. The thing about Eren is that while he does believe that it's a kill or be killed world, he also rejects that as its nature. He doesn't think that Mikasa getting captured means that she deserves it because she's weak. He instead finds her and saves her, because the cruelty of the world isn't his ideology. It's everything that he's fighting against. Attack on Titan isn't about the world being cruel and that's it. It's about trying to save a world that at first glance looks like it's beyond saving. When Eren thinks that he's going to die and he contemplates his past life, he doesn't say the Titans took my life, my dream. He says they take our lives, our dreams. The thing is, Eren would do anything for the people he cares about. But it's not just because he knows them personally. It's also his hatred of injustice. For this man to become the main cause of injustice in the world is unlike him. And I'm not talking about Eren when he was 10 or 15. I'm talking about him in the Marley arc as well. He says it himself. He hated everyone beyond the walls, but then he learned to like the Eldians in Marley, as he realizes that the hatred they have towards the Paradisians isn't the Marleyan Eldians' fault, but the fault of the Marleyan state. During Eren's conversation with Reiner, Eren tells him that they're the same. Both wanted to save the world as they knew it, by killing the ones that are threatening to destroy it. For Eren, it was the Titans. For Reiner, it was the Paradisians. Eren and Reiner both realized that the world was more complex than they had originally thought. Now, Eren tells Reiner that they're exactly the same, and that can be used as evidence of Eren still being willing to kill Marleyans and Marleyan Eldians, despite knowing that they aren't evil. I, however, completely reject that idea. Eren here is either blatantly lying or hiding his true intent. Eren has lied before, as we know thanks to Armin's deductive skills, and he could just be pushing Reiner to move forward as Eren wants him to fit into Eren's greater plan. On one hand, Reiner is also willing to do what he must and kill Paradisians because of the threat Eren poses to the world. Eren is also willing to commit massacres to achieve his goals. But if they're exactly the same, then both Eren and Reiner are not willing to let the world end. Now, you might be saying that I'm relying way too much on this one conversation, but Eren hasn't really given us much to work with, so I'll have to elaborate further. Eren arrived at the world outside of Paradise and found it beyond saving, with the people most interested in peace still calling Paradisians devils. During his attack on Liberio, Eren had crippled Marley's and the world's fighting capabilities. By killing an army's main leadership, the army will undoubtedly become weaker. By doing this, Eren essentially crippled the entire world's armies and gave Eldia more time to take successful military action. As before that, Eldia was outclassed in every single way by the rest of the world. Eren later on assumed full control of Paradise. The Aegir's government put Eren, who was a national hero at that point, as the head of the country. Then, after touching Zeke, Eren unlocked the full power of the Founder Titan. Eren used it to remove all hardening, speak to all subjects of Ymir, and command the Wall Titans to rumble the rest of the world. Eren did something I thought was notable here. He told the entire world that he was going to exterminate them. Why the fuck would he do that? And here we can look at the outcome. I wouldn't want to look at the outcome and infer the motive from that in any other case. And I find that logic to be stupid. But in this case, we're talking about someone who has already seen the future before. Eren very well could know that the Eldians outside of Paradise would overthrow their tyrannical governments. And now that they lost most of their leadership, the Marleyans could very well lose this uprising. That's the only reason Eren would say that in the first place. And now I'm going to talk about the most recent chapter in the manga. The part that interested me the most in all of this is that Eren has the greatest command of Ymir the Founder since the first King Fritz. We know that the kings of Eldia have done miracles with the power of the Founder, but none of them have ever had the full cooperation of Ymir. Eren is the first one. We see her help willingly. He doesn't even command her. And this is important for one reason and one reason alone. Ymir is the one that grants all the Titan powers. She builds the Titans out of the sand in paths, and it turns into flesh in the real world. Ymir is on Eren's side, and yet Reiner and Annie still transformed. Ymir still built them their Titans. There are two possibilities, either that Yams made a mistake and now there's a huge plot hole in AOT, or what I actually think the case is, that this is all part of Eren's plan. Remember in the beginning when I said that Eren hasn't given us much to work with? This, in my opinion, is a very clear indicator that Eren is planning something different than what he has let on. My theory, in short, goes as the following. Eren has seen parts of the future that make him realize what he has to do. AOT is about finding justice and freedom in an inherently cruel, unjust, and oppressive world, just like ours. Eren got rid of the world's leadership, including Eldia's, and then assumed control of Eldia. He later unlocked the power of the Founder to an extent greater than anyone else has. He instigated a revolution in the rest of the world and allowed the Alliance, who are more interested in peace and abandoning generational hatred, to live on and fight the Aegirists, possibly defeating them and overthrowing Floch. The highest-ranking Marleyan officer alive right now is Magath, who is part of the Alliance. Eren got rid of the Warhawks above Magath, leaving Magath in this role. By the end of this, Eren would have created the world in which this generational hatred would have ended, and the new world would be ruled by people who are interested in peace. He has done everything in his power to shape the world to be like that, but he didn't manufacture the peace like the old King Race did. Eren didn't command the Eldians to revolt. They did it by themselves. Eren didn't try to make the Alliance get along. Shit, he didn't do anything to the Alliance at all. But he let them unite to stop the endless cycle of hate that exists in the world of Attack on Titan. He didn't settle for a negative peace. And if he had just united the world as it was against himself, then he would give the Marleyans every excuse to wipe the Eldians out. Besides, it's just like 6 Paradisians that disagree with the rumbling. The rest are on board with it entirely. So that is why Eren would have had to change the world to be able to fulfill his plan. Part of that plan includes making him the leader of Paradise. Anyway, tell me your opinion in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, maybe you agree with me, maybe you disagree with me, and discuss in general. That is, if I get any comments. This is still my first video. So, thanks for listening, guys.